Let's take a look at a few more multi-step equations. Let's say we have a minus 3 halves times a minus 5 plus z plus 4 times 3z over 2 minus 1 equals 1.2 plus 0.7z. Okay, so if you want to start this problem with distributing the minus 3 halves and the positive 4, well, you would indeed be correct. However, when dealing with fractions, and we also have decimals over here, it's generally simpler to convert everything before we begin. And since I personally am more comfortable with dealing with fractions than decimals, let's go ahead and convert these two decimals over here to fractions. So let's do it. So let's rewrite this over here. We have a minus 3 over 2 times a minus 5 plus z plus 4 times 3z over 2 minus 1. Okay, this is going to equal 1.2 is the same thing as 6 over 5. And 0.7 is the same thing as 7 over 10 times z. Okay, so now that we got everything converted to fractions, we can go ahead and attack this thing. Let's go ahead and distribute this minus 3 halves right here, and this 4 is going to be distributed right here and right here. Okay. Minus 3 halves times a minus 5. Two negatives are going to give us a positive. It's going to be 15 over 2. Multiplying a minus 3 half and z, a positive z, is going to give us a minus 3 over 2z plus 4 times 3z over 2 is a positive 12 over 2z. 4 times a minus 1 is a minus 4. And we still have our 6 over 5 plus 7 over 10z. Okay. Let's go ahead and regroup these things. Since we have variables and rational numbers, I like to put everything together so we can get a better idea of what we're working with. It's like painting a picture, and we can simplify as we go along. So let's start with our variables first. Let's start with these two right here. Well, we can simplify this 12 over 2z as we go along, so we have a... Actually, let's go ahead and leave it there since we're going to be subtracting in the next step, so we already have a common denominator. So let's go ahead and leave it like that. We could simplify it to a 6z, but let's go ahead and leave it because we'll be subtracting a 3/2 z in the next step. Notice I just switched the terms. Instead of minus and a plus, it's a plus and a minus. Same thing. All right, and we're going to move these two together. We have a plus 15 over 2. Let's go ahead and change minus 4 into a rational number with a denominator of 2. So minus 8 over 2. So we can subtract these in the next step. Always looking ahead to the next step. We have a 6 over 5 plus 7 over 10 z. We always keep our eye on the end game, and things just tend to fall into place. Okay, so we have a 12 minus 3, which is a 9 over 2z. We just combine this. Let's go ahead and combine these now. 15 minus 8 is a positive 7 over 2. And we still have our 6 over 5 plus 7 over 10z. Okay, now we want to begin to move our variables to the left and all the other junk to the right. So let's go ahead and move this minus 7 over 2. Or excuse me, now it's a minus 7 over 2. We're going to subtract 7 over 2 from both sides to cancel out the positive 7 over 2. We have a 9/2 z equals, let's go ahead and put 7 over 10 z first, and then we have plus 6 over 5 minus 7 over 2. Let's go ahead and move this term over to the left. We're going to subtract 7 over 10 from both sides. 7 over 10z minus 7 over 10z, which will cancel that out. Let's change colors. Let's rewrite 9 over 2 with a denominator of 10, because we'll be subtracting these in the next step. So we have times 5, we have 45 over 10 z minus 7 over 10 z. 45 over 10 is the same thing as 9 over 2. And let's go ahead and do this without finding a common denominator. 6 times 2 is 12. We're subtracting these two fractions. 5 times 7 is 35. And 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, let's go ahead and subtract these as we move along. 45 minus 7 is 38 over 10 z. 12 plus some negative 35 gives us a minus 23 over 10. We can go ahead and take this another step further and simplify 38 over 10. We can factor out a 2 from the top and bottom, which gives us a 19 over 5z. That's going to equal a minus 23 over 10. And one step remaining. We're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal here. We're going to multiply by a 5 over 19 on both sides. 5 over 19. That's going to cancel with that, leaving just z on the left. And we can simplify these before we multiply. Factor out a 5 out of both of them. Comes a 2 and a 1. Let's see. Now we can multiply straight across. Minus 23 and a positive 1 is a minus 23. Denominator 2 times 19 is 38. So the answer is z equals a minus 23 over 38. Okay, so just taking it slow, steady, one step at a time, watching our signs so we don't make any mistakes. All right, let's squeeze in one more. We have time for one more. Let's see. We got 5x over 2 plus 3 times the following expression. We have x over 2 minus x over 3, and this all equals 3 minus 7x. Okay, this doesn't look, it's not as bad as it looks here. We only have one term to distribute, and then we can just combine like terms. We know how to do this. So let's distribute this 3 here and the 3 here. And that leaves us with, let's go ahead and separate the x out of here. 5 over 2 times x plus 3 times x over 2 is 3 over 2 x. We want to write the x's out to the side because we can tell that we're going to be combining rational numbers. Next we have a positive times a negative, which gives us a negative. 3 times x over 3 is simply 3 over 3x, or just x. Okay. And then on the other side we have 3 minus 7x. Okay, moving right along. We can go ahead and combine these two right here. We have 5 plus 3 is 8 over 2 minus, well, we can just write this over 2. We can change this 1x into 2 over 2x, so we can subtract that in the next step. And we still have our 3 minus 7x on the right side. Okay. 8 minus 2 is 6 over 2x. And let's go ahead and move 7x to the left side and leave the 3 on the right side, because that's what we want. So let's add 7x and 7x to both sides. That's going to cancel with that. So we're going to have a plus 7x over here equals 3. All right. We can go ahead and simplify this. 6 over 2 is just 3x. We have our plus 7x equals 3. And this is looking a lot better. 3x plus 7x is 10x equals 3. And we can simply finish this off by dividing both sides by 10. These 10s cancel out, just leaving us with x on the left and 3 over 10 on the right. And there you go. Okay, so don't get excited when you see multiple variables buried inside fraction bars and parentheses. As long as we take it one step at a time using the tools that we know how to use, we don't make any mistakes, we watch our signs, and we can eventually figure this out. I'm confident that we can find the valid solution, and we can go ahead and plug it back in. I'll leave that up to you just to make sure that we are correct, and I'll see you soon.